Welcome to the St. Joseph Radio Presents live program, broadcasting to you from the Rome of the West, St. Louis, Missouri. The program that for over 30 years has brought you eloquent speakers from across the globe to help explain, clarify, and evangelize the Catholic faith. Our program covers a variety of topics relating to current issues and occurrences in our daily lives. Now, with the aid of technology, we are able to bring the gospel message to the four corners of the world, where Christ himself did say, "Those who have ears ought to hear." It is our hope at St. Joseph Radio that through these programs we can help evangelize the world and change one soul at a time. Now, here is your host to introduce today's guest and topic.
Thank you, Matt. That was Matt Loggeman making the introductions. I'm your host today, Peter Karutz. We're here with Father Augustine Wetta live in studio. Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you live?
God's always saying those redundant things, isn't he? Like, those who have ears ought to hear. I mean, isn't that kind of self-explanatory? It's like when he tells Moses, "Take your shoes off your feet." I think, was there a possibility he was wearing them somewhere else? I don't get it.
Why don't I think
God's ways are not the ways of Augustine? So
there you go. All right. So from now on, people with eyes should see, people with ears should hear, and people with feet should wear shoes.
Well, you know, that's actually an ancient riddle that Jesus was making a riff on when he said that. It just occurs to me that in the Psalms it says they have ears, they have eyes, but they see; they have ears, but they hear not. What is it? So the riddle was, what has eyes but cannot see, ears but cannot hear, nostril but cannot smell, tongue but cannot taste?
Well, the first one is a potato, right? Eyes
right.
that cannot see.
Oh, that's good. Actually, no, you're wrong.
Okay.
The answer is a statue.
Oh.
See, because it has eyes, ears, and all that, but it can't do anything. And so the psalmist was making a play on the riddle because they, he says, are just like what they worship. They have eyes, but they cannot see the truth. They have ears, but they cannot hear, because they worship statues, whereas we worship a living God.
Well, now you can say you have a takeaway. You have learned something today, as I have learned something today.
It's one of the few jokes in the. Well, there's another riddle actually, which is, what is it that if you have it, you get more, and if you don't have it, you lose what you have. And
grace? Jesus
says it's grace or faith. But in fact, the original answer to the riddle was a bucket. If you have a bucket, you get more. But if you don't have the bucket, you lose even what you have.
Oh, that's good.
Right, but Jesus took the riddle and turned it around.
So it's where do you find these ancient riddles?
I found them in a textbook on ancient Hebrew scriptures.
Very cool, very cool. Well, you know,
speaking of ancient Hebrew, do you know what the Hebrew word for bottle is? It's an onomatopoetic word. It's glick gluck.
Say it again.
Glick gluck.
Well, that would be what you have a bottle.
When you empty the bottle, it goes glick, 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 glick.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Well, and it's probably good to learn these Jewish things, right? I mean, the totality of Scripture is written by Jews. Was Luke Jewish? Maybe?
Luke probably was not, I think, because he models most of his stuff on ancient Greek historians. It's Matthew, I think, who's the really sort of super Jewish about things.
Yeah, but the rest of them are all Jews anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I suspect Luke was a converted Gentile. I don't know. I'm way out of my area of expertise.
Yeah. So. But most of them all of them are Jews. Maybe Luke was too. But anyway, what are we talking about here today? Other than learning about good riddles from the ancient times.
Yeah, well, a couple of weeks ago, I think you said something like, what's a day in the life of a monk? And I started to talk about it, but it felt artificial. So instead, what I did was I went back home, and I've actually been cleaning my cell. And I took the drawer of my desk, and I emptied it into this box. And I'm gonna, and it looks like a treasure box.
It's a very cool
wooden,
box.
And it has leather and little metal studs all over it.
And it has little thingies over here that you could actually put a strap on it and carry it around your shoulder.
Yeah, I never saw that.
This is a proper box that's made for traveling.
Yeah, it's like anyway. It looks like a treasure chest. So I've decided to call it Father Augustine's Box of Wonders.
There you go.
And so if you ever, so this is just straight out of my desk, just everything that was in it. If you ever sort of wondered what a real monk's real life is like, if you could just raffle through all my stuff, this is what you get. I hope there's nothing embarrassing in there. I'm banking that there isn't. But in any case, you can open it and you pull out things at random, and I'll try to relate that to the life of a monk and maybe something theological. This is a total experiment. This is cutting edge post-realism or something. Improv radio.
Now,
here.
I don't know how
never been tried before.
And never in the history of radio or Catholicism has it ever been tried. But I'll tell you one thing.
That's right.
You think that this is going to be cool, and you're right, because you have one of those drawers that you could pull out and have a lot of stuff to talk about. You do. But you have never seen Father Augustine's office. He's got armor and swords and other weapons and carnivorous plants that eat.
That's right.
So this is going to be really, really cool. Can't wait.
We'll see.
Can't wait.
We'll
All
see.
right.
Or it could be really boring, in which case you'll have an opportunity to pray.
That's right.
Contemplative prayer. You just sit there in silence.
Oh, I got to tell you a funny story before we do. Can
Okay.
we? All right.
Yeah.
So this is a year-old story, but it came up this morning.
Oh.
So I was at something called Bacon. Do you know what bacon is? They haven't had it for a while.
I'm guessing this wasn't with your Jewish friends.
No, it was not. No, it was at St. Anselm's over there in one of the back rooms. They had a program called Bacon.
It's like breakfast and Catholic Orthodox.
You're way ahead of me.
Nonsense.
Yeah, what it means is they serve you bacon. They have a great breakfast.
But I thought it stood for something.
It does.
Oh.
I just don't. I'm trying to gracefully say I can't.
I think it is like
remember.
breakfast and Catholic. Whatever. Catholic stuff.
Now,
That's
anyway,
facts.
so the speaker was trying to have a question answered real quickly, and then one of the monks were there, one of your brothers, and I think it was brilliant. And he said, "What is the first rule of a Benedictine?" And he says, "Well, brother, you probably know that." You know what he said?
What? Oh, nothing. Yeah.
And the speaker didn't get it. So the first rule is
silence. Yeah, silence. And then the second rule is don't grumble.
Oh, yeah, no grumbling allowed.
Yeah. And the second rule is the more important one, I think, even more important. Well,
can you
it's hard
fight?
to know. Huh?
Can you fight?
Well, no. He
grumbling.
says that if a monk strikes, a monk is forbidden to strike another monk. Yeah.
No fighting.
Except with permission of the abbot, of course.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. All right, so let's
But
talk.
he'd rather we fight than grumble. I mean,
Well, one is more productive than the other, I would think.
at least it's out in the open when you punch somebody.
Well, Father, I'm so glad you're here. I'm
themselves.
so glad we're doing this. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to talk about the day in the life of a monk, and you're going to relate that to whatever happened to fall out of that drawer of yours. Now, I see
right.
there's no padlock on there, so we don't have
No,
to
I'm going to
shoot
hand
it off.
over the box of wonders. All
right. So I get to pick?
And you pull something out
All
at
right.
random
Right.
and decide and show it to me and
my
ask me what
goodness.
it is.
Let's see. All right. Well, I'll give you an easy one to start with here.
All right.
Oh, well, look at what I pulled out.
That's my. Okay, so. All right, there's a story behind that. Father Karutz here, Peter Karutz, Mr. Peter Karutz is holding up a holy card of Saint Moses the Black, and I make my own holy cards because they never give you the really cool. Well, all saints are cool, but I like the really obscure saints that nobody ever prays to because I figure they got extra time on their hands, and so I made my own holy card of Saint Moses the Black. Ironically, the icon that I like the most, where he's beating up a bunch of people, he was white in the icon. I'm like, if there's one saint like in the history of the church that we definitely know is black, it's Moses the Black.
Yeah.
And so I had
He's
to
an
Photoshop
Ethiopian.
a different head onto his body. But
very
in any case,
cool.
So that's Moses the Black, who was a brigand in the 3rd century.
I'll tell the story. It's a
converted.
great story.
Well, okay, he worshipped the sun because he thought that the sun was the most powerful thing in the universe. And he liked to rob people. He was a really big guy. He's also called Moses the Strong, or Moses the Ethiopian. And he swam across a river to steal a sheep for dinner, and the shepherd's dog barked at him. So, of course, he killed the dog. And then he was on a roll, so he killed all the sheep, and then the shepherd showed up, so he killed the shepherd too, and then left. And the locals apparently did not take to this, so they went chasing after him and chased him into the desert. He found this monastery, and he knocked on the door, and the porter said, "Hello," and he killed the porter, and he ran inside and hid. And then when the people came by looking for him, the monks hit him. And he said, "Well, why'd you do that?" And they said, well, because we worship Jesus. And he's like, "But don't I scare you?" And they're like, "No, because we worship Jesus." He's like, "Well, this Jesus guy, like, he's got to be really tough. So I'm in. I'm joining this gang." So he became a monk. And it took him a while to kind of figure out that you don't beat people up in this gang. In fact, some of his buddies came to rob the monastery, and he beat them all up, all four of them. And he tied him up and dragged him up to the abbot's office. And he was like, "Okay, boss, like, I realize we don't kill people, but we can still rough these guys up, right?" And the abbot's like, "No, let them go, untie them." And they were so amazed that this former friend of theirs had made such a conversion that they all decided to become monks as well. And anyway, there are all kinds of great stories they tell about Moses the Black.
He's a great saint. He's a great saint.
He is,
yeah.
and a really humble saint.
Talk about some other saints who are black. I think Pope Saint Victor I.
Really, he was African.
Yep.
Victor the Pope Saint Victor the First was a black African.
Yep.
That's cool.
And I don't know about this, but I'm just helping. I need help with the geography, but.
I didn't know that.
This Simon the Cyrenian who helped Jesus with his cross, isn't Cyrene in Africa?
It could be. Whether that makes him a black African is
we don't know.
Debatable. But Cyrene, I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
I don't know. Anyway, so the saint, we were at home doing some playing some games, and someone suggested, I forget who it was, that they would quiz me on obscure saints. I'm like, what? My son-in-law comes up with the killer. He said, "You'll never get this one."
Yeah.
You know what he said?
Moses.
He did. He said Moses the Black. I said, "Are you kidding me?"
When he could have chosen Saint Andreas Wouters or Mark T. Chinchong or Takayama Yukon.
Well, let me give you another one here. As long as we're on holy cards, because you hardly ever see first off, you don't see a lot of holy cards with the saint beating people up. You don't see that every day.
That's my favorite.
And even rarer do you see a saint with a demon on the cover here.
Yeah, that's St. Dunstan, the jailer of demons. He was a Benedictine monk and an abbot, and he was a jeweler. And he was making a chalice late at night when a demon showed up to tempt him, and he reached around and grabbed the demon by the nose with the hot pincers and held him there until morning and made him promise never to bother monks again. So he's called the jailer of demons.
What's his name again?
Dunstan.
I like the name, Dunstan.
Yeah, he was a good one. So I made a holy card of him too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of holy cards in here, so we'll have to get some more of those. Now, I'm going to give you something a little easier here. I got a stack of papers.
Oh, yeah.
And this stack of papers has 6 quadrants, and there's little pictures and weird-looking... Oh, wait a minute. These are not little monks. These short monks.
Yes. Well, that's okay. Yeah. This is next week is monk camp at St. Louis Abbey, and I printed out the wrong date on this, which is I guess how it ended up in my drawer. But yeah, every summer we have a camp for 7th and 8th graders, and they get little habits, and we give them special monk religious names, and then we play monk games. And then they come to all the prayers, do manual labor and stuff like that. I have no idea why they enjoy it, actually, but they do. In fact, it's very competitive to get in. And
is it really?
Yeah.
You got a waiting list, huh?
We do, yeah. So because we only take 8 to 12 kids a summer.
And you give them Dominican habits, I see?
Well, no. Actually, the habit that they're wearing is Preenham Abbey in England has a special work habit that looks a little bit like an elf outfit, and they make them in gray in gray. And so I stole a Preenham work habit from Preenham Abbey and brought it back to the U.S. and made copies of it for our monklets.
Very cool.
We call it monklets, monk camp, monkapalooza, and burning monk if it goes poorly.
I think that's fantastic. And I got to make a station identification, but so I better do it right away. This is St. Joseph. What is it? St. Joseph
Media.
No.
Radio.
Radio. St. Joseph
Online.
Radio Presents, coming to you live from St. Louis, Missouri. This is Father Augustine Wetta from the St. Louis Abbey. And I'm going to mention our phone number in case you would like a copy of this particular program or any other one.
We aren't taking calls today?
I don't know. I'll have to ask Bob. 636-447-6000.
Bob's in charge.
636-447-6000. After we take a break, I'll ask Bob if we can do that. That would be really cool. So last question about monk camp.
Yeah.
So you religious, not all priests, but you religious priests, when you take your vows, you also are given a new name, a religious name.
That's right.
Do these kids keep it?
Guessing. No, because I give them silly saint names like Saint Dodo or Saint Mucus or Saint. There are a lot Boris or Saint Gleb or Saint Barfian. There are lots of great saint names that go to waste. So I've never met a brother Dodo, but there really ought to be one. Yeah, you're holding a dental pick. I don't even know how. I do actually know how that ended up in my drawer.
This is what you sneak into the abbey in case you can't find your sword.
In case
right?
I have to do some
some
last second tooth cleaning.
I'm going to drop it now. This is a world class dental instrument. Listen, that's heavy duty.
It's the real thing. It's because we had a monk who was a wood carver. And apparently for doing really, really delicate work, you use a dental pick to sort of scrape out the little bits, and a Dremel and a dental pick. And when I started making my armor, he gave me a bunch of his wood carving stuff so I could make shields and helmets and things.
My father was a check printer, and I think he could lose a tooth there.
Yeah, I'm probably not qualified to self tooth clean.
My father was a check printer, and if you look at checks, they have they have numbers on them, right? So, and they start with 0 and they go to 1 or whatever. But when in the old days, when you used to print checks, you had to go to the press and you actually had to move those numbers so that they would line up
we're not
properly.
talking about people from Czechoslovakia.
No.
Okay,
Check
good.
printer, yeah.
Okay.
And so he had an instrument that was just like that, only it had a big knob on it. So I used to carry that around on me with me on planes just in case I needed it until I got caught.
Wait, what? You had
It looked just
dental
like that.
pick
No, it looked just like that, only instead of a hook at the end of it, it had a really sharp finger.
Why?
Because when you had these rotating series of numbers, you have to actually physically move them to the right sequence, and then you can print your checks.
And you needed a sharp finger with a knob to do that?
I didn't do it. I saw it done once.
That's
but
weird.
Yeah. All right, so here's some more weird
I wonder
stuff.
what that's called. There's got to be a word for that instrument.
I bet it's a good word, too. I have a decal here. On the back, I think it says bones, maybe? Bones decal. And then and it's not that on the front. So.
Oh, bonus decal.
Oh, bonus.
Yes. Someone sent me, okay, that's bizarre that I still have that. I just dropped it on the floor, so it's gone now. What? There it is. Yes. Someone, years ago, I was nearly attacked by a shark. And it was on the news,
and on the internet too.
And yes, if you wanna check it out, you can Google surfing monk nearly eaten by shark, and ever since then, people have been sending me like shark stuffed animals and shark this and that. And somebody sent me a no sharks symbol. It's on my computer actually. But along with it, they sent me this decal of Our Lady with the Rosary. So I'm going to put it right here on the desk.
All right, and it's
maybe
here
it'll be
for good
forever.
now.
So this is the bonus decal that they sent me.
Very cool.
That's bizarre.
I probably need something like that on my phone.
So you can sort of, I'm not really sure what you'd use it for, but anyway.
So I'm going to take a real chance.
It would remind you to say the Rosary.
It would, wouldn't it?
I tend to say the Jesus prayer, but I love the look of a rosary, so I make tons and tons of rosaries, but then I tend to use them to say the Jesus prayer.
I happen to bring my bag of junk.
Yeah, that was another thing that inspired.
Is that what you're talking about?
Lord Jesus, have mercy on me, a sinner. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
What, this thing is square. How does that work? Is that just to make it unique, or are these little holes in the sides?
Well, I found these, or a buddy of mine found them, and I bought them until they couldn't buy them anymore. But they have it's square. There's a hole in each corner. It makes it easy to put on your keychain.
Oh,
and
yeah. The Jesus prayer. You can't go wrong with the Jesus prayer. I'm fond of telling the kids that it's Jesus is the most important word in the Bible, and it's important because in the Old Testament, like the whole story revolves around this one moment where God reveals His name to His people, and that's super duper important because other gods don't have this personal relationship with people. Like I'm actually thinking. Well, in fact, a lot of the Greek and Roman legends like drive home the point that you can't really have a personal relationship with God because He's immortal. In fact, there's a great the story of Dionysus's mother, Cybele. Anyway, she Zeus came down and seduced her. And she was so in love with him, and he was so in love with her that he said, I'll give you anything you ask for. And she said, okay, I would like to see you in your true form. And he said, oh, no, now I got to do it. So he showed it to her, and she exploded because no one can see God, right? But that's the beauty of our religion is that God has this personal relationship. He gives us His name, and then because He's human, truly God and truly man, you can truly see God, and you can use His name anytime you want. And it has all the power of the Tetragrammaton, the word revealed to Moses from the burning bush. But you can use it constantly. So all the way back with the very, very first monks, they said this prayer, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. In fact, the book that tells you all about how to say this prayer says you should, called The Way of the Pilgrim. It says you should say it 19,000 times a day.
We're reading that book. We literally start reading that book this morning. Yeah, and it references
in our bacon group.
In our in our men's other men's group, but it quotes the Philokalia a lot too. Yeah,
sure.
And it talks about or at least we referenced. I think it's Thessalonians where Paul says we have to pray continuously or constantly, whatever. And the Eastern Church monks, the first contemplatives, what this buddy of ours who will be on the radio someday said, it's almost like breathing. It's like you have
you're supposed to say it with your breath. Yeah. The first Western monks say it too. There was no back when these prayers were invented. There was no distinction between the Eastern and Western churches. So it's part of our tradition as well. The Roman tradition is to say the Jesus prayer and to say it as you breathe. Yeah, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. Well, not quite like that, but yeah, as you inhale, you say, have mercy on me, a sinner.
Yeah, so it's almost in and the out, the breath. It just keeps going and going and going. And he said, I thought it was in The Way of the Pilgrim. I'm getting confused. I think the novices are supposed to say it 3,000 times a day, but that's just the start. That's just the start.
The monk who taught me to say the Jesus prayer, Father Luke Rigby, he said it all the time, and I remember on his deathbed he was saying it, and we were keeping watch, and we do it in shifts. 2 monks pray on either side of the bed as you're dying, and he went into a coma. But he kept saying the prayer, even in his coma. His lips kept moving It's pretty cool. He'd said it so long that it became part of like his unconscious.
And that's what we're supposed to. I think that's what Paul is telling us to do, that we
Pray
should be
always.
Pray
without
always.
ceasing.
And
Yeah.
I guess this morning we tried to use the word worship instead of pray. We're not really asking for stuff. We're really just worshiping.
Yeah.
So
Oh no.
Well,
Okay,
I'm about to get you in
shame
trouble.
on me for even having that.
should I just put it
Yeah,
away?
no.
right.
There's
'Cause
a story behind it.
So I was very congratulatory to you a couple of years ago when you got your first check for publishing a book.
That's right.
And you said, I didn't have it very long.
Yeah, well, I carried it around with me and showed people because it was for like 19,000, everything's, it was several thousand, like, I don't know, it was a lot of
$10
money.
million.
Something like that. Well,
Yeah.
60,000 copies have been sold, so it was something like $30,000. But our economist came up to me and grabbed it. He's like, "Give me that before you lose it," because I knew I was never going to see the money, so I might as well hold the check. But that right there is
We're going to save this for after break.
Oh boy,
Because we don't have
I'm in
enough time
trouble.
to talk about it.
Okay.
So in case anyone wants to listen in case you need to, get prepared for confession so you can get
it's a
forgiveness.
Scandal. We're gonna introduce.
This-
We're gonna scandalize the faithful on St. Joseph Media.
That's right. So, but before we go, I'm going to give you a little bit of a teaser. Next Saturday, which I think is First Saturday, I hope, over at St. Angela Merisi, we start out with First Friday, I guess. There's going to be Mass at 6 o'clock, and there will be a speaker, Ray Gerard. He'll also speak on Saturday. So if you could join us for Mass at 6 p.m. on First Friday, and then at 8 a.m. on Saturday, there'll be a little bit of coffee in the lunchroom, and then we'll have Ray Gerard speak, and he's going to be talking about some research on the subject of miracles and extraordinary experiences involving the Eucharist, which has happened many, many, many times. So, as we go to break, of course, I teased you about this thing Father's going to get in huge trouble
boy.
about. But please tell a friend, tell them that we're here on the radio, and you're finding out all about a day in the monk's life. That's Father Augustine, a Benedictine monk at, what do we call it, St. Louis Abbey?
St. Louis Abbey.
St. Louis
so
Abbey.
all your friends become monks of St. Louis Abbey.
Yeah, or at least go there, go to Mass and
Yeah.
pray. So go tell a friend. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Yoo-hoo.
Looking for a way to teach your children about our Catholic faith? Colby Academy has the solution, offering a curriculum that is loyal to the magisterium, classical, Ignatian, flexible, and affordable. Colby can help with all your homeschooling needs. We offer a wide range of services, including live online courses for those looking for assistance teaching their students, recorded self-paced courses for those who want teacher instruction while needing the flexibility to move at their own pace, and traditional homeschool courses for maximum flexibility in home education. Our support services include advising for parents, record keeping and transcript services, a grading service, standardized testing, and guidance and college counseling. For more information, check out their website at kolbe.org. That's KOLBE.org. Or give them a call, area code 707-255-6499. That's 707-255-6499. It's Colby Academy.
St. Joseph Catholic Radio is proud to announce the launch of SJN TV, the St. Joseph Evangelization Network. SJN TV is a premier online Catholic broadcasting network providing quality Catholic programming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have programming such as live studio interviews, St. Joe's Java speaker presentations, current Catholic issues, and the Pro-Life series. We're featuring the many talented speakers out of Orange County, California, and this Archdiocese of St. Louis, Missouri, including Professor John Gresham, Father James Mason, Karen Nokemper, Rick Hollerick, Bill Federer, and many more. To review the program list, go to sjen.tv or on Roku, SJN TV. All this programming is free, and we are welcoming sponsorship of new programs. Find out more at sjen.tv.
Prayer. We dropped everything.
Well, we're back, and I guess you got
Hello.
us caught us talking. We listen to commercials, but we also talk. So this is St. Joseph Radio Presents, coming to you live from the Rome of the West, St. Louis, Missouri. I'm your host, Peter Karutz, and we're with Father Augustine Wetta,
Yahoo!
who can sing and chant and do that other Chinese thing. What did you call it?
Not Chinese. I've been taking Mongolian throat singing lessons.
Where's Mongolia?
Well, that's true. Good point.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it is.
Well, but I don't think they consider themselves. Do they consider themselves Chinese?
I don't know.
I don't think
I
so.
don't know. No, someone's going to have to consult the interweb about that. But today's program is a little bit unusual.
I bet the Chinese consider them Chinese.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether they do or not. Like the Taiwanese.
The
do not
Taiwanese,
exist.
too. That's right. That's right. Well, a couple of months ago, we had a little program, and I brought out my bags of junk that I have in my car that I give away, or I have little coins.
It's not junk, it's holy metals.
Holy metals. They're not blessed, though, but someone will have to take care of that for me.
I can do that.
So Father said, I'm going to bring my... So what does he do? I have little plastic bags of stuff. He brings literally a leather-bound treasure chest. And we have... what do we have in here, Father?
Filled with... no, what I did was, because you asked me to talk about what life is like in the monastery, but I thought that felt weird. So I've been cleaning out my office. I took my desk drawer and I emptied it into this box. So I don't know what's in there. So
Believe me,
you happen
he
to
doesn't
pick out
know.
something scandalous.
So I have something scandalous here. And as I said before, Father is a published author with at least 3 books now.
Yeah.
And another one on the way. But I found something that he'll have to probably talk about with his abbot. It is a prepaid Visa card with all kinds of scribble on it because it's not worth the value that it says anymore. I thought you folks weren't supposed to have money.
We're not. And see, that's why this is such a scandal. Well, it's not really. But what happened was, okay, so we can't have any money, right? But if somebody wants to give us a gift, then we have to take that gift and ask the abbot if we can keep it. Now, you could say, give me a rosary or something, which would be great. But if you want to sort of skirt the rules, you might give me an Amazon gift card. So then I take the gift card to the abbot and I'm like, can I keep this gift? And the abbot will say, yes, because what else are you going to do with a gift card? But this person gave me a $100 Visa debit card, which I then took to the abbot and he said, all right, discourage people from doing this, but you may keep this one.
There you go. But you've scribbled on it because it must have been used.
So I must have. What did I get? Oh, I remember. I went on Etsy, which is some sort of eBay type thing, and I bought some ancient Roman coins.
Oh,
with it, yeah. And what was really cool was I bought the coins, and then the person who sold them to me said, "Are you the monk who wrote the book about humility?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they said, "Do you make rosaries?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "I'll trade you some more Roman coins for one of your rosaries." So it turns out it turned out to be sort of providential anyway that I ended up with this Visa. Gift debit card. So,
very cool. Very cool.
But as a matter of fact, I really shouldn't have them. I did, and I gave them away to kids because they were pretty cool. They were uncleaned Roman coins, so I had to sort of polish them up, and most of them were from 2nd, 3rd century Constantius, that kind of that time.
I was watching
late antiquity.
That History Channel series called Porn Stars.
No.
Yeah.
Pawn Stars.
What'd I say?
You said porn.
Did I really? Oh,
yeah, you did.
Boy.
Now I hope you're not watching that.
There's a good reason to fire me now.
Yeah, Pawn
Stars. And what they do is they do pawn stuff. Anyway, but they bought a a piece of
live radio, baby.
They bought a piece of silver from the time of Christ. Could have been one of, and the guy says, this could have been one of the pieces of silver that Judas got.
Yeah.
And the guy said, no, it couldn't. He says, yeah, it could have.
If it was
anyway, so I've been on
AD,
yeah, I was on eBay. Did I say that right too? And they cost a fortune.
Really?
I mean, I would love to have one, but it cost a fortune.
Oh,
so
boy.
you got cool Roman coins.
I'm eating a mint because I've been practicing my Mongolian throat singing in the car, and it's really hard on the throat.
You got to do that an hour a day or so, don't you?
Well, sort of like I'm supposed to, but I haven't been practicing.
All right, Father, there's some boring stuff in here, but I'll pick one
Yeah.
boring thing. We'll flip off here real quickly.
There you go.
All right. Now, what in the world is this? And why
That
is
is
it here?
some
Don't you have
black
people?
upholstery thread.
Don't you have people to do this, Father?
Well, no. See, okay. So I wear my habit everywhere, and most of the young monks do. And hold on, I'm gonna have them. Sorry, I had to get rid of that mint. But I am not particularly competent or something, and so I'm constantly ripping my habit, taking the buttons off, and so I always and upholstery thread is extra thick like thread, so I always carry a roll of black upholstery thread and a needle with me wherever I go, so that I can sew up my habit if I am jumping a fence and it rips on there or something.
In my house, I'm the seamstress as well, but I'm a lazy seamstress. So when I do thread, I'll ask you: do you double it or quadruple it, or do you just go single thread?
Can you quadruple it?
Yep.
I don't know how to do that. I should though.
Oh man, you get some real tight.
Yeah. Well, I double it though. Yeah, for sure.
So I've pulled out something else, and you alluded to this.
Oh, I've been looking for those.
Yeah, you've been alluding to this a little bit. So I know that you have certain hobbies in armor making and plants that eat dinner with you. But you also do something else with these.
Yeah. So you picked out a bunch of rosary. Well, actually, they're just plain beads. Interesting bit of trivia here. The word bead comes from the Middle English word bid, which means prayer.
Oh.
So beads were used for prayers long before they were used for jewelry, interestingly. But yeah, these are some, I think this is rose jasper. Anyway, yeah, so I make rosaries. I have a lot of trouble sitting still. I tell the kids that it is proof that God exists, that I am a monk, because otherwise I'd never be able to sit still that long. But during my meditation, when I'm having trouble sitting still, I'll make rosaries.
Very cool.
And so these are some beads from my rosary making kit.
I saw what I thought was odd-looking rosary, and he said, no, it's not it looked like a rosary.
It's called a tchotchke, probably.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Was he Orthodox?
Well, no, but what he used it for was the Jesus prayer. There were 100 beads.
Yeah, it's a tchotchke. Well, in Russian, I think they call it tchotchke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it's called a tchotchke. Could be wrong.
All right. So
You just feel that needle there is because I'm allergic to everything, and I have to give myself allergy shots periodically.
Is that right? Well, that's
good.
I
am not an intravenous drug user.
That's good. That's good. No. All right. So that's pretty interesting.
Speaking of which, my new favorite saint is Mark T. Chinchung, who was he wasn't an intravenous drug user, but he was an opium addict in the turn of the century. And his parish priest told him it was a mortal sin and he was going to hell unless he could stop. And he was like, well, I can't stop, so I'm just going to have to get martyred, which he did. So went to heaven, but never did manage to kick the opium habit.
The thorn in the side, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's something unusual. You usually don't find needles in the monk's drawer.
Yeah, I'm allergic to like everything, and St. Louis is the worst place in the world for people with allergies.
Well,
so I have to give myself shots. Look at that.
I'll tell you, I didn't think I had allergies till I moved here. This looks like an honest to goodness all put together rosary.
Yeah, I think I must have made that one.
Yeah.
I forgot it was there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, that isn't one of mine because it doesn't have the fishing lure swivels between the Our Fathers.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my patented idea is to put, well, it's not patented. I think I got it from somebody else. But it keeps it from getting tangled. I put little fishing lure swivels between the Our Fathers.
That's very cool. I'll give you on the radio, you probably can't see the color, but the color is peridot. And if you think I'm a guy who actually knows his colors, there's only one reason I know that that's peridot.
How do you know that?
Because my mother bought me that as it's my birthstone.
Well, see, here's one of the ones I made.
Holy
You can see,
smokes.
yeah, it's extra heavy duty.
Oh, wow.
It has you see the fishing lure swivels that keeps it from getting tangled up.
This is a weapon. I mean, this is heavy.
Yep.
This is what is it? What is stone or something?
That's the rose jasper. That's the same stuff.
Oh,
as
is it?
this, I think.
Holy smokes! Very
yeah,
cool.
I like to make them nice and heavy so
Very
you really
cool.
know you're praying.
Yeah. So and great cross too. So let me just complain, and I'll probably get thrown out of this organization too. But Knights of Columbus rosaries are too flimsy. I've gone through I don't know, too many of them. They got to upgrade. Maybe you can consult with them, Father.
What about the
beautiful.
Knights of St. Peter Claver? Maybe they make better rosaries.
We have to start making rosaries. You know what we are going to do? This is a secret. Nobody knows yet.
I'll teach you.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're also thinking about starting to give away. Well, I'm not going to say that.
You're the only white Knight of St. Peter Claver, right?
No, I'm not
the only one that I know of.
No, well, there's not a lot, but there's a couple.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
I got to meet those guys. I've never met a Knight of St. Peter Claver.
We have a meeting coming up, and we would love you to
I will
meet
come.
with us.
I will be there.
So, as long as you said it, maybe a lot of people don't know about the Knights of Peter Claver. So, who was St. Peter Claver? St. Peter Claver was, I think, he was a Jesuit who came from Spain, and he went to Cartagena, where the slaves were being taken off the boats, and there were so many more slaves brought to South America and other parts of the world, the United States. But there were obviously when they came off the boat, they were quite literally dying, and he basically ministered to them. So he's known to have baptized hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people. So St. Peter
Was
Claver,
he himself black?
No, he was He was from Spain.
Huh.
Yeah. So he's the patron saint of the Knights of Peter Claver. And there's knights and ladies. So
What religion? What order was he in? Was he a Diocesan?
No, I think he was Catholic, and I think
he was Catholic.
He was Jesuit.
Oh, well,
They're okay too.
Yeah, they're all right.
I didn't want to put a plug in for him, but you made me.
They keep stealing our thunder. We used to be the great educators. Then these Jesuits come along. Well, anyway, we give them another 800 years, then we'll take them seriously.
You've been around longer than they are. Isn't there an old, I will get this wrong, but isn't there an old quib between the Benedictines and the Jesuits? Why were you founded?
Yeah. What? Go ahead.
Well, I think the Benedictines were founded in order to fight a particular heresy.
No. Oh,
I've got this totally wrong. Oh,
shame.
boy.
No,
Where's my
I know what
heresy
you're
bell?
referring to. Yeah, bing. The Benedictines were founded to pray.
Oh,
that's why.
okay.
We have the most basic vocation of all. That's why we've never gone out of style. No, the quip you're thinking of is the Dominicans were the joke is that a Dominican. You ask a Dominican why they were founded, and he says to get rid of the Albigensians. You ask a Jesuit why they were founded, he says to get rid of the Protestants. And the Dominican says, you see how effective they are? You ever heard of an Albigensian? Where are they now, right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
But no, the Dominicans weren't founded for any particular reason except to pray.
Which is the best reason we could be around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's why we end up having to save civilization every couple hundred years.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And
You're
that
welcome.
rule of St. Benedict's been around for a long time. And what is the purpose of life? I recently bought a copy of the Baltimore Catechism, which kind of puts it fairly succinctly.
Why did God make you? To know him, love him, and serve him in this world, and to be happy with him forever in the next.
You've read it.
Yep.
So I pulled something else out of here, and I don't know what I think I know what it is. I don't know what it's for. It's some kind of a mechanical thing of.
Okay, all right. So here's the thing. Okay, so I have made several full suits of armor. I made a complete set of Viking armor, samurai armor, Roman armor, Greek armor. I think that's it, maybe. I don't know. Oh, and Crusader armor. And so, but, I don't have a budget, so I have to make it completely out of things I find in the trash. So I go to the school dumpster, and I dig out all these pieces of metal and stuff, and I arrange it. Anyway, this is just a buckle from a piece of luggage that I ended up using. I had 4 of them, but 3 of them I used to make my samurai armor, and this 4th one just ended up in the drawer.
I don't even have one set of armor in my house, so I think.
Peter, you need to get on this.
I know. I'm slipping. I'm slipping.
St. Peter says, put on the armor of Christ.
That's right.
You
Yeah, how
gotta-
come we never see Peter with a sword in this statue?
You do.
Do we?
Yeah, that's his standard iconography, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because he was beheaded. Oh,
St. Peter?
oh, Peter. I'm sorry. Paul. Did I say Peter said that? St.
See-
Paul said, "Put on the armor."
I'd
of
rather
Christ."
mess up like you than mess up like I did earlier on.
Yeah. Did I say Peter said that? St. Paul said.
No,
"Put on
no,
the
no.
armor
I'm
of
sure you're
Christ."
right. All right, so now I have a particular...
Peter's shown with keys. Paul's shown with sword.
I have a particular bit of torture instrument that
Okay,
I am
there. Yeah.
really wondering. Everything
There too has a story. Okay, so this is it is a milk frother.
Yes, of course it is. I never
And
heard of such a thing.
You take it, you stick it. It has a little fuzzy thing on the end. You stick it in the drink. It goes brrr, it goes back and forth. Somebody gave this to me because I roast my own coffee.
Yes.
We had years and years. We run a high school. My monastery does. And years and years ago, one of our alumni owned a coffee company, and so he took me out and we tasted coffee together, which is a really tremendous experience. It's if you do it the way professionals do it, you squish it around in your mouth, and you spit it out, and then he says, "Oh, this has notes of dark cherry and grapefruit aftertaste and a smooth mouthfeel." It's all very pretentious. But it does actually help you to taste the coffee. Oh, there we go. There, I got it working.
Oh, I thought you did that, maybe for the milk. It's amazing what you find.
So anyway, I make my own coffee for the faculty at the school, and but I can't make cappuccinos because I don't have a frother. But then one of the teachers got me this $20 milk frother.
It was a gift, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I couldn't.
So this is St. Joseph Radio Presents, coming to you live from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm your host, Peter Karutz, and if you haven't guessed already, we have Father Augustine Wetta on here.
And my milk frother.
And his milk frother. We're doing a day in the life of a monk, and Father very courageously decided he would just take his first drawer, which is usually my drunk drawer, dump it
Trunk
into...
drawer. Boy, you're good. Today you're really on a roll.
trunk drawer.
Your drunk drawer.
And-
I'd like to see your drunk drawer. Actually,
It's
that
fun.
is my brother-in-law is a Black Hawk helicopter pilot and used to carry Navy SEALs to the various missions. And he got me a Navy SEAL backpack, a black Navy SEAL, but it had too many straps, so I cut the strap off of the backpack. That's how I did it. Because when I started traveling to promote the book, I had to have a fancy backpack to keep all my stuff in.
Tell me about your book, Father, because I think
It's on humility, of course.
Everybody has a copy of it by now, but
It's called Humility Rules, or if you want to pronounce it entirely correctly, Humility Rules. It's about St. Benedict's 12-step guide to genuine self-esteem.
and you know what? I'll tell you this. It sounds like a fun and funny book, and it is, but it's also a very meaningful book too. I have a client who was dying of cancer, and I had coffee with him one day, and I said, "How do you have such a good attitude?" And he said, I just happenstance stumbled on this book called...
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
Humility
Rules.
You have not told me this story. Wow.
Yeah. And he was dying
Holy
of all
cow.
kinds of,
Oh, my
12 different
gosh.
kinds of cancers. But he had such a wonderful attitude.
Wow.
But the point of this story, Father, is,
Yeah.
one, of course, your book made a great change in his life.
Wow.
But he didn't die of cancer.
Oh, no.
He died in a farming accident. And he had a heart attack and was on a track and died. So
See, that's why I don't worry about stuff.
that's what I'm trying to, yeah.
I mean, people are like, okay, so I have Parkinson's and was just recently got an operation for it. But my thing is, like, people are saying, well, you're living in denial. But frankly, like, I could get hit crossing the street, and then all that worrying about Parkinson's would be for nothing.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's got his life in order, and he lived his life the way he should have.
Yeah.
And he
Died of a heart attack.
Yeah, he died of a heart attack.
See, it
So
just
we-
goes to show you.
Yeah, that there's something like that in the Bible about not knowing the day or the hour or
That's
something
right.
like that.
That's
All right, Father. Now this is
I got. Oh, speaking of which, I got
something.
I'm saying Mass for the first time again at the old folks' home where I always say Mass.
Oh, good.
And called Town and Country, and I love those people because they don't really take me very seriously. But I was preaching to them not long ago, and I really ham it up because they really like it when it's loud. They don't really care what I say as long as it's loud. So I said, "Vanity, vanity, all is vanity. Who knows? Any one of you could be dead tomorrow." And Miriam, who was asleep in the front row, she wakes up just long enough to look at me and go, "Heck, I thought I could be dead last week." Right? Which, again, just shows you, you worry and then
You don't
God
know. You
does
just
it
don't know.
different.
You could spend. There's a book called The Alchemist, and it has a
I've heard of it,
Oh, it's a
yeah.
great book. I picked it up in South America for my wife.
Yeah,
it's turned out to be a
magical.
international popular.
Yeah.
But one of the things in there is it says you should never go to a fortune teller. A man should never know the day he's going to die, because you'll now take all the fun out of your life. And then you
Yeah.
shouldn't know about the good things that are going to happen, because then all the surprise is gone. So don't worry. Live today for the now.
Yeah. I read The Alchemist at one point.
Did you really?
I thought that, but now I can't remember. I thought that, there's something about him going to a fortune teller, isn't there?
An admonishment against us. Yeah, it's a young it's a young boy who's seeking his personal legend. And he's in Spain, and he travels to Africa, and he wants to go to the pyramids. And, I won't tell him anymore. It's a really good book.
Yeah, I should reread that. Yeah.
So I pulled something else out of the box here, Father.
Well,
I don't have the slightest. It looks nice, and I think it's silver, but I don't know what it is.
It could be. I think that this is again supposed to be part of a piece of armor of some sort. It's a clasp from a piece of jewelry that somebody didn't want anymore. And so they gave it to me thinking maybe I could incorporate it into a piece of armor. So,
All right.
Uh-oh.
All right. So I once got in trouble for calling you Gus, and I didn't do it. But maybe now I'm going to call you JC.
Oh, yeah.
What did I pull out?
That is my Oxford University library card. Boy, and it's...
Have you been to
the
Oxford?
original- see, back around 1930, I think, as an apology to the monks for stealing all of their monasteries, Oxford, which was all monks at one point.
Is that right? I didn't know.
In fact, to take your exams, you have to wear what they call subfusk, which is a sort of modified monastic habit.
Ah.
Yeah. But they gave a house of studies to the Benedictines. So when I became a monk and they determined that I was not fit for practical work, they decided to send me to Oxford to study theology, which I did. And this is my library card.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of heresy involved, but they were smart. All right, boy.
Well, let me give you a little hope, and I'll expound a little heresy. I've said this a lot. I think that, I don't think.
It's hard not to expound heresy.
For me especially. But, a couple of years ago, hundreds of thousands, I think 600,000 Anglicans came back into the church.
Yeah.
And I think it was Pope Benedict who gave them the personal orientum or something.
Oh, right. They have a special ritual.
Yeah, it's not a rite, but it's
Anglican rite.
Yeah.
I think it's Anglican.
And
Anglican usage or something.
Yeah, but here's the cool thing that I just found out. The Bishop of Canterbury, right? The chair of St. Augustine of Canterbury is and the Anglican Archbishop of Canterbury still claims to sit on the seat of Augustine of Canterbury. But here's
the feast was only 2 days ago.
2 days. That's why it's coming up. Did you know, and I didn't, that the Archbishop of Canterbury has a spiritual director who is a Catholic monk?
I wonder which one.
I don't know.
I probably know him.
Yeah.
Because he would be an English Benedictine. And my monastery was founded by English Benedictines.
That's right. I've been to your monastery in England.
That's right. And they weren't very nice to you.
I was pretty. I interrupted prayers. I thought it was over, and it wasn't.
Well, still, they can't.
No, but they were great. I met one of the ladies who's, I think, a third order or maybe a guy.
Oblate, we call them.
Oblate, yeah.
Yeah.
She invited me to her house for dinner and all kinds
great.
of stuff. They were great.
Good.
So England and the Archbishop of Canterbury is getting great instruction from a monk.
Excellent.
Right.
Excellent.
So that was that. I'm running out of cool stuff.
Well, I don't know.
Boring
Just pull
stuff
something
here,
boring
Father.
out.
I'll pull something boring out. Here. This is about as boring as it comes.
Okay. Well, that's just a magic marker, and you're right. There's no story behind this. Although, well, they might have probably found it. Okay, I get all of my pens. I haven't bought a pen in 20 years because I just look around at the floor when I walk through the high school and take.
We're gonna sign off.
Okay.
We ran out of time.
Good.
I'm sorry.
We're
we'll
running
see
out
you
of
next
cool
week.
things in my drawer anyway. See ya.